Hi friends, welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Do I need to say that when I start the videos? I don't think so. Today's episode is on breakups, okay? First, I'm gonna do a little breakup affirmation situation to make you feel better if you're really in the thick of it. Okay. And then we're going to go into how to heal from a breakup or how to really move on. My tips, some might help, some might not, but I just want to go over what I would recommend doing. And then lastly, I'm going to go through your guys' questions that I had on Instagram about breakups. Any and every question that I got that leads into so many good conversations. So I'm really excited for the questions part. But I also decided, you guys, let's chit chat a little bit before I start the episode about my life. I'm sad because tomorrow is Valentine's Day, even though you're going to hear this the Monday following. So I'm not really sure what we're doing. Carter is taking everything into his own hands. So I'm excited to see. But Carter and I are just getting through. My boyfriend, Carter, if you don't know, is in his third year of law school and he graduates in May, which we just found out that his parents, grandparents, and maybe brother are coming. And then my dad and his girlfriend are going to come. And then they extended the offer to my grandparents, LaDonna and Gordy. Oh my gosh, I could cry. Honestly, the best part of the whole thing is that my grandparents haven't met my dog, May, or our dog, and LaDonna. Oh my gosh, you guys, speaking of, I have this mug in frame here, dog person. She got me this mug, okay? They used to have dogs and then they both passed. Well, they've had dogs obviously forever, but now they're, so old. They're not that old, but like you don't want to outlive your dog. Sorry, that's a little dark, but they don't have any right now. So I need them to meet May. And honestly, that's the part that I'm most excited about. It's also my birthday on May 9th, and then Carter graduates on May 10th. So they're kind of coming down for my birthday and graduation. It's going to be so busy with that's going to be like 11 of us, just family, going to the graduation and then probably my birthday dinner. I don't know what we'll do. That's like 2 months from now. 2.5. But other than that, me and Carter, you guys, we live a normal ass life. We go to the gym in the morning. Carter goes to class. I do my content. If you don't know, I do content full time. So I like to say that I'm a stay-at-home girlfriend, but then everybody likes to go, but he's not even making money right now. And I'm like, I understand. Just let me have my moment, please. Okay. Anyways, that's our day. Then he gets home. I'm learning how to cook. I'm in my wifey era. Ew, that makes me want to die. But that's kind of the reason I say it. So I'm learning how to cook. And I actually got Carter an air fryer and a crock pot for Valentine's Day. Are they more so probably for myself? Yeah, but I don't care. And then I wrote him a cutie little card. But I already gave him the gifts because I couldn't. I'm the worst when it comes to giving gifts. I'm so excited about the gift that I already gave it to him. So that's that. I'm trying to think what else is going on in my life. Really nothing. So let's just get into the episode. Okay. To my girlies going through breakups right now, it can be a long-term relationship. It can be a short-term. It can be a situationship. It can be getting over that guy that you never actually dated. Okay. I'm looking at you. Okay. I'll be nice. But getting over breakups is all the same. Obviously, not all breakups are the same, but I get a lot of questions of girls being like, how do I get over my first love? How do I get over him if he cheated on me? How do I get over him if this? As if it's going to be a different process. It's all the same. Okay. But before I get into how to get over men, how to get over breakups, I just want to talk to you guys if you're really going through it. Number one, if you're going through an amicable breakup, like good terms, nothing major bad happened, it wasn't toxic, it was a good relationship, those can be just as hard as a toxic breakup, honestly. And from my experience, all of my breakups, which are 2 that I've ever been in my life, have been amicable, have been on good terms. One of them was because of long distance and I moved to Dallas, way far away from Minnesota. And the other was just a falling out due to lifestyle, due to just not wanting the same things in life. But all in all, great relationship. So I get this one better than I do toxic. And here's the thing, when you're going through it, you just have to know that it was meant to be. Okay. What is the cliche saying? It's annoying, but it's true. Everything happens for a reason. And when you're in the thick of it, you're holding on. You're like, if that relationship was so good, how am I ever going to find better? Like, what if I don't? Which are these irrational thoughts that we have when going through a breakup, but you're just in the thick of your emotions. You found that partner. There are billions of men out there. You will find another partner. And honestly, in those good relationships, I always told myself, okay, if I was in this great relationship, the next one's going to be even better, even more amazing. Like, I can't even imagine how I'm going to top this relationship. We don't settle, okay? We're not going to go to a man who treats us not accordingly after you've been treated well. You know, you're not going to go down, or you better fucking not, okay? And so what a wonderful thing. Like, oh my gosh, you can appreciate the moments. You can appreciate that relationship, but to its core, there was something that was preventing you two from being together. If he popped out of the blue and broke up with you, he wasn't clearly communicating with you what was going on. If like everything you felt was fine and then he just broke up with you, clearly everything was not fine, you know? Or else he would have communicated that with you. Or let's say you broke up because of long distance. You're like, but we're so good together, but it's just the distance. Living with your partner is a huge part of the relationship. Being able to see each other face to face is why you're in a relationship that's supposed to add to your life. If it's only a constant stressor because you're far away, and maybe to you it didn't feel that way, but to him it did, and he wasn't willing to put in the effort. He wasn't willing to put in the effort. That's not a good partner. Like, that's not the person for you. If you thought you could make it through the distance and he couldn't, hello, that's him showing you that he's not the one for you, or he would have made it work. You know, in every instance, there are these things where it's like, oh my God, he needs to work on himself. Everything was good, but he needed to work on himself. Mind you, he gets in a relationship 2 weeks later. It's horseshit. Okay. And whatever reason, if you got broken up with, that this man is telling you for the breakup, he wants to work on himself. He's just stressed. You're too good for him. It's all bullshit. They just don't want to put in the effort. And that sucks to hear. Don't get me wrong, but it's true, okay? Because you could be with somebody if you were working on yourself. And honestly, if you were going through hard times and stressed, your partner should alleviate that. So you think they would lean on you more. Like, do I think they maliciously tell you a lie for the breakup? No. Do I think it's intentional that they do that? No. I think they honestly don't really understand what they are feeling. They just know it's not right, because I've been there. I've been in relationships or talking stages where I'm like, oh, I'm just not feeling like this isn't it. And I don't have a real reason. Maybe they were great. For example, looking at it from that lens, like if I broke up with somebody and they held on forever and ever and ever and I'm not into it, like it's never going to work. Okay. So when you're on the other end of it, if this person told you that they don't want to be in a relationship and you're trying to hold on, it's still never going to work. Okay. I kind of jumped all over the place there. And now I also want to talk to my girlies who are in the toxic relationships, because this is where I thrive and this is where I really go hard. Because if you are being treated poorly by your partner, you need to know that that is not your life partner. Why do you think, and how do you think you would get through life with somebody who only makes you sad, who puts you down, who can't communicate, who doesn't apologize, okay, who gets mad at you when you bring up your feelings? You can't. Out of all people in this world, the one person you should be able to be vulnerable with and talk about your feelings to is your partner. If you find yourself going to your friends or your family because you can't talk to your partner about things, that's not your partner, okay? And even if we all have gone through like toxic phases, or just, I don't like to call them that, phases where we aren't quite grown and mature yet and we have to figure out how to deal with things. One thing that I'm bad at to this day is being criticized. I really only remember in past relationships, like let's say a partner was saying something to me, like for example, one of my ex-boyfriends, he's like, why do you follow this guy that I had dated for a very short period, which I totally understood where he was coming from. But of course, in the back of my head, I had a million things that I just didn't speak of. So whenever he came at me, I'm like, well, then why did you do this? Like, I don't like that. And that's a fault of mine that I've worked on. And honestly, Carter's such a little gem that I don't even think about it, because he would never even say anything semi-mean or argumentative or attacky to me. But where the fuck was I going with this? Oh my God, did I really just blab for that fucking long and forget my point? Totally. Let me just get back to what I was saying and maybe it'll come back to my brain. Y'all, I'm so sorry. Bear with me. Oh my gosh. Okay, I rewound the tape to remember what I was saying. And there's a big difference between somebody who is just not well equipped with dealing with their emotions. Like there are men that, don't quite know how to express themselves or not get upset and that are figuring that out with you. There's a big difference between that because some of us are learning for the first time, right? And like I just said, I had issues before. Like when I was younger, of course, I didn't know how to deal with emotions and how to interact with the partner and when they brought up this or that. But there's a big difference between that and somebody who's just malicious. And you know the difference. You know if you're in it that he doesn't care that he puts you down. He doesn't care that he gets mad at you and yells. If a man yells, that I will never understand. Okay. The fact that he can't have a temper, but then just express himself in normal tone. Okay. Or maybe like a little bit heated. Of course, we get a little worked up. I should know I'm a loud girl. Okay. So when I talk, I'm already loud. So then when I'm mad, you have emotions, but like yelling. Okay. If I were with a partner who yelled when they were upset, I would just think about having kids with that man and our children learning that you should just scream and yell when you're upset. That just absolutely not. But all of that to say, I want to remind you, here comes Brenna Berg 101. You are hot, you are kind, you are funny, and you are smart. And before that relationship, okay, you were all of those things. You're still that person. Okay. Even if your partner put you down, okay, was mean to you, made your self-worth non-existent, you are still all of those things. Okay. And you need to distance yourself from this man and get through this breakup so you can remember that again. But you didn't lose anything in this breakup. Okay. I say this all the time. He's the one who lost. Okay. Because more than likely you were there for him through everything. You tried to make the relationship work. You did everything you could have. You had such a big heart. There are so many things you probably looked past. Even when he did treat you poorly, you tried to justify it or you tried to teach him like, hey, I don't like when you say this, that. You literally did everything and you cannot be upset in your efforts. Okay. Because you quite literally did everything you can. And because he didn't put in effort, that doesn't fall on you. You can't blame yourself for a breakup. Of course, there's two people. Do we make mistakes? Yes. But if you're in one of those positions where he just straight up did not treat you well in that relationship, that doesn't fall on you. And I made a video about this yesterday, how I think because these women who give relationships their all and look past all of these things and love and love and love, when they finally plummet, when the breakup happens, they take all of the blame because you were the one holding the relationship together. You were the one making it work. So when it eventually fails, you feel like that's on you, but that's not on you that he wasn't putting in effort the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And you deserve so much in this world. And there are a lot of girls that ask me like, are there still good men? I don't think that there's good men out there. I think that most men will become that man for their person. Now, there's a big difference between an asshole being an asshole. Like there are some men that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I think about some of the guys that I know, some of my friends that have been in relationships and didn't treat them poorly, but didn't treat them probably the best, or they just didn't get along, or they weren't compatible. Those two just weren't meant to be. But then you see that same guy that didn't really put in a lot of effort with this girl. They just never really worked. You see him meet the love of his life, treats her the best she's ever been treated, is a completely different man with her. And I think it just takes the girl. Okay. And I say this not in terms of your ex. You're like, oh my God, he's going to treat the next girl better. I'm just saying if you're in a place and you're going through a breakup, you're like, oh my gosh, are there any good men out there? They're all shitty. What am I going to do? There are. Okay. There are wonderful men out there and you are the prize to your partner. Okay. I was talking to Carter about this one night when we were going to bed and I was explaining my TikTok. If you don't know, Carter has never seen any of my content. Okay. So I talked to him about it, obviously, but I was explaining how I tell you guys, like, you are the prize. And even he said it. He was like, to your person, you should be like, to your partner, you are their prize. Like you're in each other's lives to make them better and to push them and to grow together. Okay. And there is that person out there for you. You deserve the world. I always say this, I'm not special. Carter treats me like how I hope for you guys. And this is why it's so easy for me to talk about, because I have such a sweet, kind gentleman who is just the best, and he's so respectful. And I wish I had recorded like some of the hard conversations we've ever had. They're always just conversations, okay? Never once has he yelled, never once has he got mad at me. Anytime I'm upset about something, he is always so understanding, and he always validates my feelings like nothing. He's just so mature. I want that for you guys, and I know that's out there for you. I'm not special. You guys, there's no reason that I deserve Mike harder than you deserve it. Like, what did I do to deserve a wonderful man? Of course, do I think I'm a good partner? Yes, that's part of it. But like, I'm no more worthy. Like, there's nothing special about me that made me find Mike harder. I just put up boundaries. I didn't settle for no shit. Okay. And I waited. And in those moments of like, oh my gosh, I'm lonely, I just wish I had a boyfriend, I stuck through it, and I didn't settle with some loser ass bum because I knew that was out there for me. I know a few couples now. I didn't see a lot of it in my childhood. Let me tell you that. A lot of loveless marriages in my own family. But once I moved to Dallas, I know a few adult couples. Number one, the nanny fam, the family that I used to nanny for. Those two are so in love. How precious that they've been together for like 15 years, 2 kids, and they're like so in love. Obviously, I don't know what they were like before, but I would obviously say that they're more in love than ever. And another one of my best friends, his parents, oh my gosh, don't even get me started. They've been together since 19 and have built a wonderful life, and they are so enamored by one another. And seeing these things, I'm like, it's out there. Like, there's no reason that these people haven't, and I can't. And one part of that, honestly, goes with my first episode of being alone and being independent and confident and okay, is like, I was okay with being by myself. Honestly, for a really long time before I met Carter, even in my past relationships, I didn't think I was ever going to get married. I wasn't sure if I wanted kids. Like, I was totally okay being an aunt to my best friend's kids and my brother's kids if they have children. And I was so happy being by myself. And I think because I got to that place, it was going to take one hell of a man to prove to me that it was better to have a partner than to not. Of course, the like girl in me, the lover, I would want that. But I got to this place of like, okay, but if they're not adding value, positive happiness to my life, and that's it, like I'm taking care of my shit on my own, all they need to come in and do is like provide happiness or more happiness than I already have. They just can't make it worse. And that's exactly what Carter did. And that's the place I want all of you to get to. If you are a girl who is in and out of relationships all the time, I've been there. Like in college, I feel like I could never be alone. I always wanted male attention. I get it. But I challenge you to be single for a while. Take some time to really like, do not speak to anybody. Don't be in the talking phase. Don't be Snapchatting boys, even if you don't feel anything. Really be fully single. That way you can get to a place and you're like, holy shit, my life's really good on my own. That's when you'll have such a hard time dating because you're like, I'd rather be by myself. I'd rather hang out with my friends. I'd rather just be single. Okay? Side little tangent there, but let me get back to the point. You are so deserving of a wonderful partner. And if you were in a toxic relationship and you're like, oh my gosh, your self-worth is down, this man treated you like shit, you never deserved that. Okay, nobody deserves that. I don't care if you made mistakes. I don't care if you messed up. Like, nobody deserves to be put down, to be critiqued, to be made to feel like they're a burden by anybody. Okay, a partner, a friend, like, why would you have somebody in your life that makes you feel that way? You know? But with all of that being said, I'm sure I'm going to jump more into it. Let's go through my breakup survival guide. Let's go through the things that I think you should do right now. If you're going through a breakup, or if you're going through a breakup with a situationship, whatever, this is what you need to do to move on from whatever man is holding you captive. Okay, Brenna's breakup survival guide. Let's get into it. You already know the number one thing that you have to do. You have to go no contact. If you don't know what no contact is, it's exactly those two words. You do not speak to this man anymore. After breakups, we have this way of wanting to stay in communication with them because it feels good in the moment, okay? For however long you guys dated, you talk to this person every single day. And I think the hardest part about a breakup and why it feels like the worst pain you've ever felt is because all of these habits in your life are now gone. Like it is completely uprooting your life because you texted them every morning, or maybe you live together, or you're with them, or even when you're at work, you're thinking about them and you do this after. And like they are one of the main priorities in your life. So when you break up, all of a sudden that's all gone. And in the moment, it feels like, let's just continue to chat and ask each other how our day is and stay in touch and be friends. No, the only thing that is doing is making you feel a tiny bit better in the short term. And even still, like it doesn't, because you text them, let's say it takes hours for them to respond. You start spiraling again. They haven't answered and you guys are broken up and it makes you so anxious. You have to rip the Band-Aid off and you have to go no contact. You cannot get over somebody while still communicating with them. Okay. And it is not easy. During a breakup, you are going to obsess over this person more than you ever have. And if you're in communication with them, it only makes you spiral more. And you have to redirect your energy. You cannot be focused on them anymore. And you just have to do it. I don't care how hard it is. You have to go no contact. Okay. That's just that. If you aren't going to do that, then don't listen to this episode. I'm being so fucking for real. Okay. Because you're never going to move on. You are going to keep yourself in this horrible cycle. And that's your own problem. If you don't want to do that, if you think that, no, you need to talk to them, you don't. You have to go no contact because also you can't think clearly when you're still communicating with them. It blurs your vision so much and it's already going to be so hard to stop thinking about them. So when you're constantly communicating with them, seeing their name, thinking about them all the time, it only further puts you down the hole. Okay. Every single girl that didn't go no contact and then eventually finally breaks the cycle and gets out of it wishes that they did. Okay. Step 2, you have to accept the breakup. And this is probably the second hardest thing next to no contact. It happened. Okay. And like I told you in the first episode, your mindset is your reality. You have to quit feeding the delusions. Okay. And you have to understand that you can keep yourself stuck forever if you want to. Okay. You just have to accept the breakup. And guess what? It's going to be sad. And also, you get to be sad. Right away, like the first few days after a breakup, you are going to be feeling so low. I'm sure you're there right now. You're like, holy fuck, this is the hardest thing of my life. That's okay. Be sad. And even in the weeks following, you're going to be majority sad. You're going to have some highs and lows. Okay. That's okay. Feel your feelings. You can't shove your feelings to the side because that's not healthy and that's never going to help you. Feel them right away. Girls are really good at this. I feel like men typically right after a breakup, they pretend like everything's fine, but then it hits them later. It hits us right away. And as it should, feel those feelings, okay? Because you are grieving this person, really. So you have to know that this breakup happened and accept it and that it's not going to be rainbows and sunshine for a little bit. And that's okay. This person was a huge part of your life, but they are no longer. Okay. And once you can also accept that this person is not your person, if you guys are in a breakup, that's not your person. Whatever happened, okay, one of you decided that it wasn't a good fit, that it wasn't working. And that is enough to know that that's not your person. Your person would never allow themselves to lose you in the first place. Even in the most hard conversations, the most conflict you've ever been in, whatever it may be, your person will work it out with you, period. So the fact that you and this person broke up means that that's not your person. Okay. Step 3, along with no contact, this kind of goes hand in hand. You have to remove this person from all of your socials. Okay. Snapchat, your contacts, your Instagram, your TikTok, you have to remove them. And I would say block them. I know people have mixed feelings about blocking. I think we're finally getting to a place where it's no longer viewed as immature, because it's not immature. Blocking is totally a tool that you use to protect yourself. It has nothing to do with the other person, to make them mad, to, show them this, that, and the other. It has everything to do with not allowing this person to see or talk to you, because if they reach out, that sets you back 100 years, okay? And you need to do everything right now that's good for you and remove this person. Seeing their name, okay? Like if you still follow them on Instagram, they post a story, you see them and they're out, you'll spiral, okay? Snapchat, same shit. And you will constantly be looking at their stuff. During the breakup, like I said, you have to accept the breakup. This person is no longer a part of your life. And I know that sucks, but it's the truth. And we'll talk about staying friends in the questions at the end, which obviously, if you know me, I'm going to say you can't be friends. Okay, you're not friends. You were dating and you are no longer together. You're not friends. You never will be friends. You never were friends. Okay, you have to remove them from all your social medias. Okay, and this goes into my next point. Delete the photos, delete the texts, throw away the things that he got you, all of the reminders of this man, get rid of them. And if you're like, but what if I want the photos later? Okay, get them off your phone and onto a computer or a hard drive, somewhere where you're not constantly seeing them, because during a breakup, we are obsessing over this person, and any chance you get, you'll look through the text when they said, I love you, when they did this, when they did that. Again, that's not your reality anymore. Looking at those things only hurts you more. And like I said, we're taking care of ourselves. We're doing what we need to do to move on and to heal. Okay. And you cannot heal when you're constantly keeping yourself in this delusional hole of, oh my gosh, but remember when we did this and the photos. You have to stop. So get rid of all of the shit. Okay. The next tip that I have for you is to lean on your friends and family. And I know when you're in the breakup, one time I was in a breakup and I felt so annoying. And I told my friends, I'm like, if I message you, if I audio message you, if I text you, you don't even have to respond. When you're in it, you're spiraling and you're thinking. So I would just text or audio message. All of my friends were like totally fine. They would get back to me when they got back to me. That was fine. But a lot of it, I just needed to let out these things that I had in my head. And number one, if you have a friend that makes you feel like it's a burden, that's not your fucking friend. Okay. If you've ever had a friend go through a breakup and you know that they're going through it, you are there for them. Even when they know you're at work or something and you can't respond right away. If you are really friends with somebody, you want to be there for them during these hard times. So number one, if a friend makes you feel like you're annoying, okay, goodbye, that's not your friend. But your real friends and your family will be there when you want to talk, okay? And leaning on them, this is exactly why we have friends and family in the first place, okay? They care about your well-being and they want to be there for you in hard times. The next tip is to stop going to the places where you guys went. Stop also going to places to see them if you're like in a small town, and to get out of the routines that you guys had. Really, what it all comes down to is starting new routines and doing things that you didn't do with them, hobbies, okay? Recreating your life, because everything up until this point you had done with that person. And the more that you can get rid of all of the things that remind you of them, the better. My last little tip is to go on a daily walk. I don't care if it's on a treadmill. I would recommend going outside if you can. Fresh air and moving your body. Again, you guys know I'm going to recommend working out in any instance, but going on a walk is like so easy, but it clears your head and it makes you feel good. And it's honestly something to do when you're going through a breakup. You go to work and then you get home and you cry, you lay in your bed, you do this, like go do things. Okay. After you spent the first few days and weeks being sad, like it's time to get out there and get busy and kind of distract yourself after you felt the feelings. So I recommend going on walks. Oh my God, they're my favorite thing. If you know that about me, you already know. It'll just make you feel a million times better. Even a quick 30-minute walk, you'll be amazed at how good it makes you feel. Even on good days, go on a walk. Okay, that's my little rant about that. Oh, and one more thing that I wanted to bring up that I didn't have listed in my little notes is therapy. I've never been to therapy, so it's a hard thing for me to touch on because I just don't know what it really entails. But if you are going through a breakup, even right away, I imagine that a lot of you are already in therapy, so you're already going to be talking to them about it. But if you're not, I would suggest maybe not right away. No breakup timeline is the same. I get a lot of questions questions like, what if I'm still not moved on by this point? And what if I'm still not moved on by that point? If it's been around a month or two and you're still like really not well about it, this is when I would probably challenge you to go to therapy, because they can probably do a hell of a lot more than I can. I'm not a therapist, okay? And you can talk to somebody. They have real life skills and coping mechanisms that they can give you. And I just don't, I can't provide that. They are qualified to do so. So I would highly recommend it. Okay, before I get into the questions, a few more little notes that I wanted to make. Closure is not real. Okay, if you are in a place and you're like, I can't go no contact because I need to talk to him because I need to know why he did this, that, and the other. You are never going to get closure from that person. Okay, that boy gave you absolutely fucking nothing during that relationship. You think he's going to give you closure? No. I promise you, no. So you have to find closure within yourself. And this is where I say the disrespect was closure. The lying was closure. The way that he treated you like shit, that's closure. That's enough to know that that's not your person. If you feel like you need to reach out to this man to talk to him, that way he can say something to make you feel better, there is quite literally nothing that he could say that would make you feel better. You're always going to have more questions. It's always going to make you think, well, what about this? And what about that? You have to find closure within yourself. Like, that's just that. Okay. And another thing that you need to know is time really does heal all wounds. Okay. I get questions about breakups all the time because a lot of my content is geared towards it. Besides all the points I just gave you, at the end of it, like, it's just going to take time. Every day gets better. The first like few weeks after a breakup are really hard, but then one day it just slowly starts getting better, and you're going to have high days and low days, and your emotions are going to be a roller coaster. But time goes by, and then you get to these different points, like then you're mad about the breakup and you start seeing things more clearly, and then you can put dots together, and then you can really fully understand. As long as you're not feeding your delusions, okay, you have to stop doing that. You have to quit telling yourself that this is your person. But what if I did this? But what if I did that? Enough. Okay, coulda, woulda, shoulda. We're here right now, and the breakup happened. And if the breakup happened, that's not your person. Okay, quit telling yourself that that is, because you will stay stuck forever. Your mindset is your world, is your reality. So if you want to tell yourself that the boy who broke your heart 6 months ago, who now has a new girlfriend, is your soulmate, you are just straight up delusional. Like, this is the point where I would challenge you to go to therapy. Sorry, I'm so harsh, but it's just true. Like, so many people, it breaks my heart, keep themselves stuck and in these delusions when you just have to accept the fact and move on, and you will be so much happier and better for it. I promise you. I get really harsh because I love you guys so much, truly. But when I see girls that are in this place where they can't see outside of it, I'm like, girlfriend, like, when is enough enough, you know? And eventually you get tired of your own shit and you finally put the pieces together and you're like, you're right, that's not my soulmate. But the quicker you can accept it, the quicker you can move on, truly. Now we're going to get into the questions. Some of them might be long answers, short answers. I'm going to do my best. I wrote them in my notes app, so I copied them from Instagram. I don't have your guys' names or anything, which you probably wouldn't want that anyways, but I just worded them however I felt necessary. Okay? Wonderful. Number 1, is it okay to be friends after the breakup? No, that's not your friend. Okay. Why would you say friends with this man? You know why? Because you want to stay close to him and you think it makes you feel better and it's going to help you with the breakup, and it's not. You're just not thinking clearly. That's not your friend. Okay, you guys dated and you're no longer together. Why, out of all of the people in this world, would you be friends with your ex? Eventually, one day, you will get past this breakup and you'll date somebody new. Number 1, that's hella disrespectful, for one thing. But number 2, like, you guys just aren't friends. And that's the sad part about breakups, is they had a moment in time in your life where you guys were really close, but you have to let that go. Okay, there's no reason you should be friends with your ex. There's no reason you need to be. I used to think that, oh, it's the mature thing, but like, really, why? I just think at this point now it's immature. Like, there's just no reason for that. Eventually you'll get to this place, like I said, where you're dating somebody new. And I just think that's so disrespectful and it's so unnecessary. Next, how soon after the breakup is it okay to start dating again? How do you know when you're ready? Like I said, everybody's timeline is different. There isn't a Brenna's breakup timeline 101 that I can give you. Number 1, whenever you want to start dating, that's when it's okay. Okay. So if it hasn't been that long, but you've been over this relationship for a long time and you're ready, go out. Who cares? It's your life. But if you are in this place where it's been a few months and you're still kind of in that breakup and you're like, oh, I'm scared. It's always terrifying to get back on the dating apps. I remember after one of my breakups before I met Carter, I got the app, I deleted it within the hour. And I was like, I can't do that. And then the next day I'm deleting it. Like, you'll just figure it out and there's no right or wrong way. Okay. And if you're at a place you're like, it's been a really long time, but you're just scared, eventually you're just going to have to make yourself. And it's going to be uncomfortable because it's something you haven't done in a long time. But if you're thinking about it, but you're just scared because it's something new, you're just going to have to push yourself to do it. There isn't going to be a moment where all of a sudden a flip switches and you're like, I'm ready. Okay, it's always going to be scary. You're always going to have mixed feelings about it. But I would say better to wait than to rush. Okay, like if it's been a month after a breakup and you're like, I'm not sure, just wait it out. Okay, you'll get to a point you're like, okay, I'm ready, but don't rush it. And if it's been a short amount of time, but you already grieved the relationship while you were in the relationship, go for it. Who gives a fuck? Next, how do you become okay with them moving on? Here's the thing. You're just going to have to accept it. But also, what they're doing is none of your business and affects you none unless you let it. Okay, we need to focus on ourselves and quit putting so much focus and attention on them. What they do with their life from here on out has nothing to do with us. Okay, that is just the hard truth. Again, focusing on them and wondering if they're dating or not dating, like, you are just wasting so much of your energy. Number one, they can do whatever the fuck they want. But number two, it has nothing to do with you. Okay, and they're gonna move on. So the quicker, again, that you can accept the breakup and focus your energy on yourself, the better, because they're going to move on and you're just going to have to be okay with it. Like, there's nothing you can do. That is no longer your person. This is a good one. How do I help my friend going through a breakup with a toxic ex? Here's the thing. In women friendships, there's the battle between telling them like it is, but then letting them learn for themselves. I think there is a way to get across that this person is not good for them. Okay, send them my TikTok videos. I know a ton of you already do that, which I love and I think can be helpful because I have a way of playfully saying things. But I think really you just have to be there for her. We all eventually, if you've ever been in toxic relationships, you finally get sick of the shit and get over it yourself. Like, I didn't break up with a toxic ex because my friend told me to. Nobody got over their toxic ex because their best friend said, enough's enough. We all decide when we want to be done with something or when we're going to change. So I think the more important thing is to just be there for her. And as heartbreaking as it is, as much as you want to tell her to quit being a dumb bitch, like, she's going to have to learn for herself. So better to be the friend that's there when it all goes south than to be mean to her and harsh, even though it's for her own good. I think just being there for her is way more important, and offering little words of encouragement when you can, and agreeing when she's bitching about him, saying, yeah, it's not right. This isn't okay. You shouldn't be treated like that. But don't come out of left field when she's having a good day and telling you about her boyfriend, how he finally bought her flowers after 10 years of being together. He sucks. Because she's not going to want to hear it. And eventually she's just going to exile you as a friend, and then you won't be there at all, rather than to just be a good friend and be there when eventually it goes south. I think that's really all you can do, in my opinion. How do I let go of someone who I know isn't good for me, but I put so much time and love into it? Here's the thing. Relationships aren't an investment. Okay. No matter how much time, no matter how much love you put into this relationship, it doesn't matter. Okay. You can appreciate everything that you've put into this and remember the good moments. But if you know he's not good for you, that's it. Okay. You can continue wasting your time and staying in it, even when you know that it's bad, investing more time when it's not an investment at all. Or you can decide right now that I know this isn't my person, and you just have to rip off the Band-Aid and do it. Relationships are hard. Breakups are hard. Being the one to break up with somebody is hard. I've been that person. And when it's not necessarily a horrible relationship, but you know it's not right. It's so hard. But again, choose yourself and know that keeping yourself in this is only wasting more of your time and keeping you from finding the right person. I don't really have a step-by-step guide to this, but you will eventually get to a point where you can't do it anymore. And the quicker you can come to that conclusion, the better. But I think eventually you're just like, okay, like you already know that it's a bad thing. I think working up the courage to do it is hard. And of course, would I want you to do it today? Yes, but it's not that easy and it's not that black and white. So the fact that you're aware of it is good, but I would maybe, if it helps you, write down in a notes app. So when you talk to him, you have the bullet point things that you want to say. That way you can convey your message nicely, but also end it. It's never going to be easier the longer you wait. So I think that the quicker you can just sit them down and say, hey, this isn't going in the direction I want, the better. You know, I'm sorry if that wasn't really helpful. Okay, this question is a wonderful question. How do I prevent a breakup? You can't. You can't. Okay, because with the person that isn't right for you, that you're not compatible with, a breakup is going to inevitably happen. You should focus more on just finding the guy that you are compatible with and won't want to break up with, but life happens and you're not going to be able to prevent a breakup, you know? How to handle a breakup when you have mutual friends. Here's the thing, you are probably just going to have to stop being friends with these people. And I know that's hard, but this is the predicament that you're in, and being around them when they bring up your ex all the time is not healthy. It's similar to when you are close with the family, your partner's family. You're going to have to cut them off. You're going to have to cut ties, unfollow on social, unfriend. Like, they're no longer your family. And I've been in this predicament because I get really close, like adults, especially like parents, I just rock with. I love parents in general, but they are a reminder of your ex. And like, again, you're going to go on and meet your person, and the disrespect that it is towards them and like your connection to these people were your ex, and you and your ex are no longer together. And especially if it's the parents, like they understand, like there doesn't need to be bad blood. Like it's just part of the gig. It's like part of going through a breakup, and it sucks. But again, we also have friends for seasons. It's the same thing. Like they were a part of your life because of this person, and now they're not. And that's okay. You can appreciate like the wonderful friends and family, but that's just not part of your journey continuing forward, you know? When do you know if it's time to end it, even if it's not toxic? If you are asking me this question, it's time. Like I've been in that position, and I have a friend who went through this once as well, where you are starting to question it and you know it's probably not right. You'll get there. And again, if you're asking that question, it's probably going to be upon us, because with your person, you would never feel that way. Like you would never question the relationship. And so the fact that you are feeling those feelings, it's probably about to be time. Okay. But that's a good point, that relationships aren't always toxic. I talked about this in the beginning. Like there's not always a bad thing that happened. Somebody cheated, somebody lied, but that doesn't mean that just because it's a good relationship and they're a nice person, that's your person. Like compatibilities also matter. If you want kids, the lifestyle you want, your religious views, there's like so many other things that having chemistry with somebody and getting along is one small piece to the puzzle. And just because they might have treated you well and were nice and a good partner doesn't mean that's your person. And that sucks. And it's so hard because you're like, oh, if I could just love this person and know that it's going to work, how amazing. But it's just not always that way, you know? Should I block him during no contact or not? I would prefer the block. I think the most that you can protect yourself from this person and them reaching out to you or you checking on their socials, the better, just for the moment. Like you can do it for the first month and eventually you'll get to a place where you're over it. Unblock, who gives a fuck? Or just keep them blocked. It really doesn't matter. It's not immature. It's protecting yourself. If you feel like you don't struggle with checking on their socials or having them reach out, if you think it's going to be fine, you don't have to. But if you're on the fence, I would say block over not block. Any tips for starting to date after going going through a long-term breakup. Like I've said a million times, I guess the theme of this video is rip the band-aid off. I can do a first dates video, which I think I'm going to do to help ease the nerves, but it's never going to be easy, especially after a long-term relationship, because you were just with a person for potentially years. You haven't dated in years. It's going to be uncomfortable, but the quicker you can step into it and just start going on dates, you'll gain more confidence in it. Like the first date might be a little awkward. You might have a lot of emotions and feelings, but you just go on them and it'll slowly start to get easier and better. I don't think there's something that I can tell you that's just gonna like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is gonna be amazing, because it's hard. It's been a long time since you've went on a first date, but I'll do a video on first dates and just like fun things to do before. But I think you just have to do it. You just have to say, this is my life. I've got to do this again. We're starting over. Here goes nothing. What do you do when he said he needed time for himself and then he got a girlfriend immediately after? You do nothing, because it's none of your business. And I understand where you're coming from. And this is a great topic, because I always get girls, what do I do if he treats her the way I begged him to treat me? Or what do I do if he gets a girlfriend right after? Number one, it's none of your business. Number two, whatever you're seeing or you think that he's treating her a certain way is fake. Like if it's on social media, you have no idea. Number three, just because he moved on doesn't mean it's not a rebound or that he's past the relationship. But number four, it doesn't matter. Like maybe he is moved on. He has a whole ass life of his own. He can do what he wants, and it sucks. And you want to still have control over this person, even though you never did it in the first place. But it's the loss of control, I feel. And like I said, the reason for the breakup is typically horseshit. He wanted to work on himself. He could have worked on himself while he was in the relationship. So it's hard to process, but again, it's like accepting these things that suck. But you guys are broken up and he can do what he wants. And just because he's moved on and is with a new girl and maybe treats her a certain way, especially if your guys' relationship was toxic, like just because he's moved on and doing something and treating a girl a certain way doesn't negate the fact that he treated you poorly. Okay, that's what I'm concerned about. Just because he's doing a certain thing now doesn't take away the fact of what he did to you and that's not your person. Okay, so you have to just quit obsessing over him and wondering what he's doing, because it's never going to help. It's never going to make you feel better. And it has nothing to do with you. Like, you knowing this information and thinking about it literally helps you none. Okay, let's focus on our breakup and our healing, okay? How to break up with someone and not feel guilty. I think that's inevitable. I think because you loved this person and you were sad for them and sad for yourself, you have so many emotions during a breakup. And again, you feel these emotions, like it's so normal, but I just remind you that if you're the one doing the breakup and let's say it was a healthy, good relationship, you just know he's not the one, that's it. Final answer, he's not the one, and you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like, we are humans with complex emotions and you deserve love just as much as him, and you are doing him a favor as well by not staying in this relationship when you know it's not right. You know, you are holding him back from finding his true person, because even though he might think he loves you so much and you're his person, if you don't feel that way, then it's not meant to be. Like, he'll come to terms with that later, but don't feel guilty, because honestly, you're doing the best thing for the both of you. The worst thing you can do is stay in a relationship where you know you're not happy and you know that you deserve better and he deserves better, but staying in it because it's comfortable and you're scared of being alone and the whole hassle of going through a breakup, you know? It's been 10 months since the breakup and I'm still not over it. What do I do? I would suggest therapy. Like I said before, if you are finding that you can't handle it by yourself and can't let go of all of the things, go to therapy. I think they could help you, or seek out professional help, whether that's like a relational therapist. I don't know the whole realm. I said there's no timeline, but 10 months is a long time, and it's keeping you from then moving on and getting on with your life. Like, that's a really long time to be hung up on something. So I would seek professional help. Like, go talk to somebody. They can probably give you the tools to slowly but surely move on. This was such a great question that I loved. What's a breakup that changed you positively? Every one of them. Every single breakup I've ever gone through in the moment might have been the worst thing, but now was the best thing that ever happened because it led me to right now. And I hate to always bring up Carter because maybe your end all be all isn't a relationship. And I'm not saying it needs to be, but I am the happiest, best version of myself ever. And guess what? All of those breakups brought me here. Like, even in the moment when it was hard and I felt guilty or I wasn't sure what was going to happen, it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me because it led me not only to Carter, but different other aspects of my life. When I moved here to Dallas, that breakup sucked, but moving to Dallas was like the most life-changing thing that's ever happened to me. And one breakup, like because I wasn't with that person, it led me into like this wonderful friend group. Like there are so many positive things that happen and life changes and things happen. And if you can appreciate even the bad things because they got you where you are now, that is the beauty in it all. 4 more questions. This might be the longest episode ever. How do I stop romanticizing my ex? Write down in your notes app all of the horrible things about him. And maybe he was good, but even still write down the things like we didn't see eye to eye on this, or he always made me feel bad about bringing up my feelings or what have you. And reference that note when you're in these moments, but also just quit focusing on them. Like it is a decision. You have control over your mind and your thoughts are your reality. Like I say all of the time. And that's not your person. That's not your soulmate. And I'm telling you, if you keep telling yourself that it is, you're going to be stuck. You're going to continue to romanticize them. And I get it. If you were in a good relationship and let's say you're going on dates and every time you're comparing your ex, which is an unhealthy thing, but it's natural to like, I don't have the same connection, which I think is good because it'll keep you from settling. But just know that if your ex was your person, you guys would still be together and you're not. So there is somebody else out there for you and use that as the benchmark if it was a good relationship, because then you'll only go up from there. But every time that things don't go according to plan or you're down and you're like, oh my gosh, my ex, number one, remember the bad things, but also you just have to keep drilling it into your head that that's not your person. And if they were, you guys would be together right now. Okay. How to trust someone again. I have never had a betrayal of trust. Like I've never been cheated on or really lied to in a big sort of way. But if any of you remember when I first started dating Carter, that I got all of these comments about being love bombed. I was being love bombed by Carter. Okay. I would love to know what those people think now, but it's none of my business. However, how I'm going to tie this to trust is I made a video about being love bombed. And I was like, you guys, I know that you are trolls and idiots of the internet, but number one, I'm not being love bombed. But number two, if I was, what about preventing myself from being loved is going to help me? Like if I pull, like what would you recommend a person do in that instance? Not trust them, not give it their all. Like I would every single time rather love and go all in and be excited about dating somebody and have the potential of it going south and not being my person than half-heartedly going into a relationship because I'm trying to protect myself. Even still, it could work, but it might not, and it's still gonna fucking hurt. Like you just have to try and trust people. I think saying I don't know how to trust after my last relationship, it's kind of like a cliche that people hold on to. Like you just gotta do it. And just because one person fucked you over doesn't mean they're all going to. Like I would just challenge you to have a positive mindset, which again, my first episode, because you have to see the good in people. Or if you want to go out and date and keep thinking about that this person might cheat on you, that's just a horrible cycle to be into. I think you have to go into it with a positive mindset and say, of course, anybody can get cheated on. Anybody can be lied to. It could happen, but the possibility of it not is better and outweighs the negative that could come with it. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. Okay, 2 more. Difference between holding out hope they'll come back and being delulu. Well, I think holding out hope that they come back is being a little bit delulu. This is a hard one for me to answer. I think regardless of the circumstance, like no contact and moving on is only going to benefit you, because potentially they could come back. Like, that is going to happen no matter what you think about the circumstance. Like, even if you think they're going to come back or hope they're going to come back, or you don't, number one, they always fucking come back. So like, they probably will. But number two, like, moving on will never prevent them from coming back. Does that make sense? I mean, hopefully you have them blocked and that they can and ruin your fucking life again. But you have to let go of that thought, because what is it helping you with? Does it make you feel good every single day that you're like hoping you get a text? I would much rather move on with my life. And then one day out of the blue, if that's really what you fucking want, they text you. Amazing. You know? So holding out hope that they come back isn't being delulu, because boys always come back because they get bored and lonely. It's not because they love you. It's because they want to see if you're still there and would still get back with them, truly, like every fucking time. But holding out hope that they come back is being delulu, because it's just keeping you from moving on, you know? Okay, and the last question, how do I stop going back to him even when I know it's not right? And here's the thing, eventually you get sick of your own bullshit. There's nothing I can tell you that will make you stop. Like, what am I supposed to say to you? He's gonna treat you like shit. He's gonna lie to you again. He's gonna do that thing. But I know you're like, okay, but I love him. Because loving him means what? Do you love that he disrespects you? Do you love that he plays with your emotions? Do you love that he doesn't care about your emotions? No? Oh, that's weird. Loving somebody is such a small piece to the puzzle when it comes to finding your forever person. Okay. You can love anybody. You loved a guy before this. I almost guarantee it. And you'll love again. Like, choosing to love someone is not the hard part. Okay. Finding the person that treats you right and would be a good life partner is the hard part, and somebody you're compatible with. Okay. So you're just going to have to get sick of the toxic, constant ups and downs. Like, there's truly nothing I can say that will make you stop going back. But I challenge you to go no contact and just decide enough is enough. Like, you will keep yourself in this cycle forever. Like, women have literally been with toxic people for years and years and years, on and off again. And it only prevented them from finding the right person and finding a healthy and happy love. So if you want to have the temporary satisfaction of getting him and cuddling and being happy for 2 seconds out of your entire day for weeks on end, years on end, go ahead, by all means. But I choose happiness, and I choose not being stuck in those situations. I choose myself, and that's what I would challenge you to do, is to choose yourself and what's good for you. And even though it's going to be really hard right away, in the end of it, it's going to be a million times better. Like, the little bit of satisfaction you get from going back to him and then being off again and then being on is so not worth the bit of sadness that you're going to get from completely cutting him off, but then being so much happier in the long run in a happy, non-toxic relationship. And that's just that. Oh my gosh, you guys, it says an hour and 20 minutes. Of course, I'm going to cut it down, but that's my episode on breakups. I'm sure I'll repeat episodes, like new questions and different ways of going about it, but this is my first breakup episode, and this, I hope, is helpful to my girlies going through it, to my girls that are going through it. Just know that you're going to be okay, and that you're strong. You're stronger than you actually think. And even in moments where you literally want to die, I promise, go to my TikTok. Okay, go to my TikTok, which a lot of you already do, and watch my videos, because you are so strong and you'll be just fine, and you deserve love just as much as the next person. And you will find that as long as you don't settle. okay? And I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited to be here for all of your guys' love journeys. You guys have been here for mine, a little bit of it. I think about the future, like when me and Carter eventually get married, which we're not gonna have a wedding, we're definitely gonna elope and have children and get a house. Like, I can't wait to share all of those moments with you, and I truly hope that you guys think of me in your life and share with me. Like, I get girls that comment and message me and are like, I found my Carter, and it really warms my heart so much, because these are the same girls that a year ago or months ago were going through it, and then they met a guy who's amazing, you know, and it just warms my heart. It makes me so happy that I'm here with you guys every step of the way as well. I selfishly, like, this community, I'm here because of you guys, but also it's so interesting because you could look at it like I make this content for you guys, but you guys are here for me just as much. Like, my relationship with you guys has helped my female friendships and just my like femininity and leaning into that side of myself so much. I went through a breakup at one point where I had 70,000 followers and you guys were there for me, and I'm forever grateful because you guys were so sweet. And then I met Carter and you guys have been here for that. Okay, I'm just blabbing, but I just love you guys and I'm so glad we're here. And thank you for listening to my second episode. I hope that this was great. Again, any and all feedback is welcome. Message me on Insta. I can't wait to update you about Valentine's Day and other things next week, even though it's going to be like 2 weeks after the fact, but that's okay. I just love to fill you guys in on those little updates, so I can't wait. But I hope you have the best week. Happy Monday if you're watching this on Monday. If not, happy whatever fucking day it is. You're the best. You're going to be okay if you're going through a breakup, and I will see you guys next week. Okay, bye guys.